YouTube friends, teachers, possibly homeschoolers, but probably mostly teachers. This is Elizabeth with an S, and today I wanted to do a how-to video on how to use Post-it notes in the Erin Condren Teacher Planner. So what I have done for my lesson planning is that, nope, not here. I use Post-it notes for my lesson planning. My handwriting's not so terrific, so anyway, I like to use different colors for different classes, and so this is typically what a spread would look like. So my video today is going to be on how do I get this to happen. So what you need obviously is your lesson planner. You need Post-it notes. You can do the same color or different colors. I have two different types of Post-it notes. I have the super sticky Post-it notes, and basically everything except for this little bit is covered with sticky. And then I have the regular Post-it notes, which are the ones that we know. Both of these are 2 by 2 inches in size. That is the size I use, and you can see how they almost basically fit on top of a square. You won't get anything that fits exactly on the lesson plan square, but I think that does the best job that it can do. So aside from the Post-it notes, you will need to have a computer either with Excel or with numbers if you use a Mac. And I'm going to show you how I've set up my template on my Mac computer using numbers, but you can do the same thing on Excel and it should work out just fine. So the template that I will use is going to look like this when I print it out. So I'm going to show it to you on the computer in just a minute, but I have these squares and they are 2 by 2 inches, and then I have this sort of break in between, and that is 2 inches long by 0.15 inches in width. And then for this row, it's 2 inches by 0.15 inch in height. So that's how I've set it up, and as you can see, my Post-it will fit exactly on top of that square. So when I go to print out my lesson plans, it will print out hopefully on the Post-it note. So here we have my Mac screen, and I'm using the numbers program. You can see there. I'm using the numbers program, but you can do the same thing in Excel. So if you know how to use Excel, then you just need to set up your columns and your rows with certain heights and widths, and then you should be fine. Just, of course, when I did it, I had to do trial and error to make sure it would fit on my paper, but this is how I've set it up. So this big box, which is A1, is 2 by 2. That's where I put the Post-it note. This thinner column, which is B1, is going to be 2 by about 1.15 inches, and here are my measurements here that you can see as I click on each one. Again, C1 is 2 by 2, D1 2 by 0.15, and E1 is 2 by 2. So that's the row 1 across. Now row 2 is another break between Post-it notes. It's really important to put a break just so that things are not overlapping or getting messed up in the printer. Okay, so row 2, 0.17 inches by 2 inches long. This one is 0.17 by 0.15 inch, and then everything else is just repeated all the way through the document. So this is what I've managed to do to fit on my paper. There is a chance that I could fit another row, but I actually don't need to, so I wouldn't bother with that. So this is the layout. This is how I set it up. Those are the measurements that I used. And then when I print it out, I get the printout of what I showed you before. And I always print it out before so I have a template that I can use, and then I put my Post-it notes on it and print out my lesson plans. So I've been working on my lesson plans for next week, and basically what I do is I put a text box on top of the template box for the numbers spreadsheet. So I just do an edit paste scenario. So here's the box, the text box, it'll fit right in. Then I go in and I'll type in whatever it is that I will do, and you can see here I've been doing that for my other classes. And so now what I will do is I will put my Post-it notes onto the template and then print this out. So let me do that and I will show you. So here's my template. I hope you can see the lines. Typically I don't use the thicker red lines on my template. I just did that so you could actually see it on the screen of the computer. So these are much thinner, so if you can't see them, I'm sorry, but it's there. Here are the different Post-it notes that I use, and so basically all I do is I know where I've put my lesson plans for my different classes, and I just put them on according to the color and the lesson that I have typed in on my computer. The thing I like about Post-it notes is that if you didn't get it right the first time, you can fix it. That's not right. Turn my paper this way so I can actually see what I'm doing. There we go. So once I've got the whole page done, I'll show it to you, print out my lesson plans and show you what that looks like, and then transfer them to my planner. So here is my finished layout of my Post-it notes, and I'm getting ready to print my lesson plans right now. So let me stick this in the printer, print it out, and show you what it looks like. So here are my lesson plans printed out on the Post-it notes. Now I do have an inkjet printer, so you can see a few little smudges of the ink, but really that is not that big of a deal to me as long as it's not covering up the actual lesson plans. That's fine. I think it's just because some of the paper sticks up a little bit, so that's why that happens. So you might find it on the bottom edge, but really shouldn't be a problem. And then if you have a LaserJet printer, I think that problem will go away, but I don't have a LaserJet printer, so I deal with what I have. Anyway, so now that I've got this done, and these are all my year 11s, this is my year 10, my year 8, and my year 7, I will now stick them into my teacher planner. So I recently went from vertical planning, which, let's see if I have an example of my vertical planning, which I really liked. My vertical planning was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, etc. I've decided to try out horizontal planning and see how it works. If you've been watching my videos, you know that I was in the hospital a few weeks ago, and I'm not back to teaching my full timetable. So this is maybe 2/3 of my timetable. So there are some gaps in here that typically I would not have. So I'm taking advantage of that by printing things out if I needed to on 2 Post-it notes, because I have the space to do that. But typically I just put the font to a really small font, so that way I can fit it all onto one Post-it note. And that's your choice. If you are able to use more than one spot, great, you can have bigger font size. For most of my lesson plans, I can't, but just because this week I have a little more space in my book, I will be able to do that. So that's kind of exciting. So this is going to go here. I typically teach in classrooms and in labs, so depending on where I'm at, that will be what I'm actually going to be teaching. So for my year 7s, we're doing cells and we're starting microscopes. So when we're in the lab rooms, we will do the microscope lessons, and when we are in the classroom, we will do less laboratory type assignments. So now what's going to happen with my year 7s is that I will move my Post-it notes around as I come to the day. So this class will also be in a classroom, so I'll move this down to here when I need to use it for Wednesday. And that's basically how I use the Post-it notes as my way of organizing my Erin Condren planner. If you have any questions about how I do this, please put that in the comments below. If you like this channel and would like to subscribe, please do that as well. I am a science teacher, so I do plan on posting a bunch of science activities for a variety of ages that could be used in many different age groups. Hopefully that are inexpensive, utilizing less resources but still grab the students' attention and engage them. So if you think you might be interested in that, please do subscribe so you can be notified when I post those videos. I'm going to try to do one each week. So as you can see, it's coming together really well, and I hope you've enjoyed all my planner videos. And I'm not liking how that's lining up. So this is the magic of Post-it notes. If you don't like how it looks, you can start over, and that's what I really like about it. It makes it as neat as you want it to be. I like using different colored Post-it notes because then I can easily see what class I am looking at and go from there. So there you have it. All the Post-it notes are in. And this is what my next week will start out looking like. Now, of course, by the end of the week, I will have shifted some of these and some of these, so I'll do repeat lessons further on in the week, as you can see. But for the most part, this is how it's going to look. I'm actually kind of liking the horizontal layout. Anyway, we'll see how that goes, and see you around on my next video.